Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M by 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator for startups. We run it out of Silicon Valley, but with a global footprint. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. In support of that mission, for more than 10 years, we've been doing these free mentoring roundtable sessions. This is the 434th of these free mentoring sessions. So it's been going on since the fall of 2008, and over 100,000 people have participated. So we have become quite a fixture in the entrepreneurship ecosystem of the world. The event is being recorded. Every single recording is available on our YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtables. The philosophy of the program is case study-based learning. So if you go spend time, if you're looking for learning material and learning interfaces, this is a great one. You could go listen to lots of previous roundtables and you will learn a lot because you will see how people are pitching, what feedback they're getting, what advice they're getting, and that's a huge learning exercise for people who are at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journeys, as first-time entrepreneurs. We also have a very active Twitter channel. Our Twitter handles are 1M by 1M and Romana. And if you're live tweeting today, please use hashtag 1M1M. These are the call-in instructions. I will put them up a bit later. We're not quite ready for call-in right now. We have some scheduled programming. But this is a roundtable, not a broadcast. We want you to participate as much as you'd like. So please make a note and we will put these numbers back up again. We're going to start today's program with a conversation with Rahul Chowdhri from Stellaris Venture Partners in India. Rahul, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So Rahul, start by introducing our audience to yourself as well as to Stellaris. Tell us about the fund, tell us what is the size of the fund, what is the focus, and let's just get to know one another.
Sure. So Stellaris is an early-stage tech-focused fund. The fund is about $90 million, and we primarily invest in seed to Series A stage. And in India, these end up being round sizes that may start from a few $100,000 to up to $3 million from our side, and the company might be raising up to $6 million. So on our own, if it's a larger round, we do it with somebody else. And we also actively back our companies that do well. So as a follow-on investor, we have the capability to go up to $8 million in a particular company.
Okay.
The fund got started. Sorry.
Pardon? Once more?
Yeah, I was just going to briefly tell about myself. I've been investing since 2007. Stellaris got started about 3 years back, and prior to that, I was in another fund called Hyderabad Ventures. Before that, spent about 7 years in 3 different companies as a product manager. Prior to that, with BCG in India, and then before that, did my engineering and MBA. So that's who I am.
So tell us a bit about what you like to invest in from Stellaris.
So, we are an India-based fund. So our ability to invest, basically we end up investing behind teams that originate from India. Having been in venture for so long, one thing we have realized is this is a game of home runs. So anything that we invest behind better have the capability to return the whole fund if everything goes well. We all know that, in life, things don't go as per our expectations. Startups that are just getting formed, they go through a lot of navigations along their journey, and only few end up succeeding. So we need to make sure we invest behind very large outcomes. As far as companies are concerned, there are 3 broad themes that we like in this fund that we are investing behind. 2 of them are very India specific. One being, India has, for last, I would say, uh, between 2008 and 2000, or between 2005 and 2015, saw about 100 million internet users that came online. In just last 3-4 years, we have suddenly seen that number jump from 150 to about 500 million internet users.
With
And
Jio.
I believe due to Jio, due to handset prices coming down, and because of that, there are a lot of people who are getting online for the first time in their life. The first 100 million users were very similar to global consumers. They understood, they had access to global apps. They understood how those apps operated. We think there's a large opportunity to target the next 400 million internet users. The services that they will like will be same. The way they will be different. The way they will consume will be different. The user interface could be different. The price point could be different. So the one broad theme that we are very excited about is building businesses or backing businesses which are catering towards this next 400 million internet users.
Okay.
The second broad theme, which is on similar lines but more targeted towards SMEs in India. These are people who are like maybe a Soho kind of a SME, or maybe 5 to 10 people kind of a SME. Again, they behave similar to consumers, so they have also been using smartphones. But most of them have been using consumer apps to run their businesses. And we think time has come when they will need business solutions. And that's the second theme that we are backing. Now, interestingly, in India, people don't pay that easily for software. So most of these companies that we are backing are not going to earn money from the software. They will earn money when the merchants start seeing increase in revenue and they're ready to pay a cut of that revenue. So it's a slight twist in the revenue model, but that's the second broad segment. And the third broad segment is building global enterprise software businesses from India and sold from India. So that ties to two trends that we are seeing. One is availability of product and technology talent in India, but also ability to remotely sell software in small chunks. So price points of maybe $10,000 a year to $20,000 a year, but doing it remotely from India. So these are the three broad things that we're investing behind.
So Rahul, in what you described, there's one theme that I did not hear, which I would like to actually ask you about, which is that 100 million consumers, the first 100 million consumers, that is more a mature consumer in India, right? The luxury consumer is in there. Anybody who's in the luxury segment, who has a good disposable income, is in that segment. That segment, people have been on the internet for a while. They have budget, and they are sophisticated consumers. And that's a large number. 100 million users is a large number. Not all necessarily, high income segment, but a large part of it is high income segment. Those are not of interest to you?
No, so what I would say is there are much larger problems to solve in the next 300 to 400 million internet days. So that doesn't mean that we not invest. Let's say we see a company which has very strong interest in business model attacking a large problem. But a lot of those consumers are already getting interest from existing scaled up startups. So the larger problems there are most likely already getting addressed. And hence we see a big gap in the next 400 million internet users.
Okay.
So if you see our investment, I would say maybe 4 out of 11 that we made target those next 400 million internet users.
Okay. So let's do a few examples and give us a few examples of what you have invested in catering to that next 400 million users.
Sure. So we, and this is an investment that my partner Ritesh made. It's in a company called Vogo, VOGO. An equivalent of that company in US, you will call company like Bird and Line, which is a scooter sharing business. Now the problem that a Bird or a Line solves in US is very different than what Vogo is solving in India. So what Vogo is solving is a problem of last mile commute for people who today take public transportation like a bus or a three-wheeler like a tuk-tuk in India. These are people who cannot afford a taxi ride every day while going and coming from home to their office. And the next best available option is actually a bus, which is not comfortable, takes longer time. So Vogo is basically providing a proper scooter for people to travel from 3 to 7 kilometers from any point-to-point manner. And that's a segment where, and I'm going to talk in Indian rupees, if a Uber will charge you 17 rupees a kilometer, a tuk-tuk will charge you 12 rupees a kilometer. In Vogo, you can go from a point A to point B in a city at about 4 rupees a kilometer.
Okay.
And with all this, the company breaks even on the scooter if the scooter does 4 to 5 rides a day. Now, there are countries where bike taxis work. I think Indonesia, Thailand, these are all countries where bike taxis work. Now, you can argue why not do a similar model? Why do a self-driving scooter model? The interesting piece is the scooter itself might cost you an EMI of maybe $70, $80 a month. If you put a driver on top of it, suddenly the price point jumps to 17 to 5 times. So then you could recover $3,500 a month versus recovering $350 a month versus recovering $70 a month. So you can't afford, or you can't give that particular scooter at 4 rupees or 5 rupees a kilometer if you have to recover the driver cost. So now that's a very interesting model targeting a very different segment of users. And these are the next 300, 400 million users that are coming on.
So
that's the first category.
How do you, in this example that you just gave us, this obviously requires consumer behavior change. What indications do you have that people are willing to make that kind of consumer behavior change? And of course, there are issues around theft and so forth. How are you dealing with all that?
Yeah. So, very good question. So one, with cities becoming larger, more denser, the traffic is going up in India in a lot of larger cities. And there is, if you ever come to India, you will see the number of metro lines being laid out in all large cities in India. So people are anyways moving towards public transport, but the metro density is not same as in New York. A metro station typically will mean that if you get down at a metro station and go to your office, it could be a 3 to 7 kilometer kind of a ride. So you're still going to have, the last mile between metro and the office and metro and your home still needs to be done with some kind of transportation. And that is where Vogo is a stepping stone. So that's where the consumer behavior is already geared towards adopting Vogo. Over time, we feel that in any city, you should be able to ride a Vogo within 100 to 200 meters of wherever you are. Now, that's where, very interestingly, India-specific pieces come in. In India, there are a lot of mom-and-pop retailers. And now, Vogo already has more than 100 retailers in Bangalore who are willing to let scooters be parked in front of their shops. They will do the refueling. They also take care of the scooters. So they'll clean it up. They'll make sure nobody, steals it and things of that nature. Having said that, the company also has a very interesting IoT solution on top of these scooters. So each scooter gets fitted with an IoT box, which takes care of theft of the scooter, theft of the fuel, also gives them the ability to lock the scooter remotely, has a GPS guidance. So there are a lot of those solutions which essentially make sure that you take care of, the kind of questions that you had in mind. What if somebody just leaves it in the wrong location? What if somebody steals the scooter? So they have gyrometer. As soon as you pick up the scooter, if it goes above the ground, there's a signal that is sent to the company. If it is tilted, the signal is sent to the company. So those are the kind of tech solutions the company has pulled in to make sure you adopt to Indian conditions. Great.
Another example. This is actually fascinating because we do have a very large Indian following, as you know. So it's very interesting to hear about these trends and what's new, what's cutting edge. So I'd love to hear more about what other interesting ideas are in your portfolio.
And I just talking about the first theme, second theme, again, I can give you examples across. I'm so excited about that that I can keep on chatting, but yeah. So should I give you an example in the middle?
Yes, absolutely. Please, go ahead.
Sure. So this was the theme that I said there are these SMEs, right, in India, who are using So this is a company called Shop 101. Now this is a social commerce application. And what we have seen is in last 5-7 years, India has seen Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, now TikTok picking up as very important or very popular social media platforms. While there is a consumer usage, a lot of micro sellers, these are individuals sitting at home, students, traders, who are also using these platforms to sell items. And what a typical micro seller will do is she will have a page on Facebook. If she's selling, let's say, ethnic dresses, she will dress it up, and then people follow her because of her dressing style. And then they'll, over time, ask if this dress is available to be sold. There's a Facebook Messenger chat. Then money gets transferred into the bank account. And then the lady will walk into a courier shop, a local courier shop, and ship the item. In our last, about more than a year back, Facebook claimed to have about 1.5 million such SMB pages in India alone. You look at WhatsApp, there are much more number of WhatsApp broadcast groups, again used to sell items. You look at Instagram, same thing. Now, these are not platforms designed to do e-commerce. So what Shop 101 does is, it has provided end-to-end fully integrated interface for a technology platform that makes these micro sellers look like a full-fledged e-commerce business. So if you use their platform in less than 5 minutes, you can create a shop of your own, which will be fully integrated into your social media accounts. You will have all payment interfaces available. You will have multiple logistic interfaces available that you can pick and choose from. And these are all fully integrated. You don't have to get an IT consultant to add it to your online store. Now what that allows is, this person now does not have to spend time on chat, because now if a Facebook post is made on a new item, the link of the shop comes up there. You can go there, you can order and place it. This particular person never had COD as an option available, because large courier companies will not entertain cash on delivery with individual, small businesses.
Right.
Now, because you are going through Shop 101, you have COD available. They get best rate from logistics companies. And on the back end, what they have done is one step extra. They have also gone and tied up with large manufacturers in the country and made their catalog available to these micro sellers. So based on the followers that a micro seller has, he or she picks up whichever item might get sold or will be liked within their follower base and promotes it on their shop or on their social media handle. What this has done is, it has increased the procurement capability of these micro sellers. So for an end consumer, they still buying from this micro seller because this micro seller provides trust, she provides curation, she's somebody I can ask a question from, which typically in an Amazon or a Flipkart is very hard to do, and still get a full range of items that can be sold. Now, this is a classic case of tech enabling Indian SMEs. Charge for software. What they charge for each service that this micro seller takes up. So if they take up the bill payment, if they take up the logistics that Shop 101 provides, if they buy from the supplier of the Shop 101 merchant base. So there are charges for each one of them. So you pay as you go. In some sense, the more your revenue is, your revenue. Last month, they had about 40 such micro sellers who sold at least one item on their platform.
So, in the case that you just described on SMB focus, and this is like very small business focused offering, you prefaced earlier by saying that the business model is not necessarily that people are paying, the SMBs are paying for the service, but you're doing revenue sharing. That doesn't apply to this particular company. This is one you are charging for the actual software.
No, so what I meant was that if you charge, let's say Shopify charges $100 a month,
right,
irrespective of what business you do, that's a software charge. Here, what you're charging is, if you use, so as I may decide not to use Shop 101 shipping service, right? I can sell on my Shop 101 website or my own website that Shop 101 creates. but I may not use, let's say I want to just use my local courier person. In that case, you don't pay anything to Shop On. You may decide that I will not take the payment service of Shop On, in which case you don't pay for the payment service. You may decide I want to design my own items. I will not take the supply that Shop On is giving me. You don't pay for any. So you decide as a SME, and you only pay when your revenue on Shop On goes up. So if you sell two items, you
revenue
pay for
is kind of transaction-based fees. You take a cut on the transactions based on what services the user is using. Got it.
Right. And in some sense, sorry.
Well, I'm actually very curious because you will hear a very interesting company. Actually, I don't know if Taranjit is on the call yet. This is a company that is getting ready to go out to raise money. This is a company that would be interested in accessing your, the Shop On 101's body of influencers, of small merchants. So this could be a very interesting opportunity for a new brand that is selling a new product to also access the market, yeah?
Yeah, so actually now that's what is happening with Shop 101. There are so many new brands that are coming up, and they need distribution platforms.
Right.
So a large company like Unilever led their Series B because they feel beauty could be a very large channel, or a beauty could be a very large range that could be sold on this channel. Similarly, smaller brands are using this as an alternate distribution channel.
Great, excellent. All right. So talk to me about what is, besides these three categories that you've talked about, or aligned to these three categories that you talked about, if you look at your last 12 months or 18 months deal flow, what are you seeing? What's in the pipe in India? I imagine you see several thousand deals a year, right?
So we see maybe 1,400, 1,500 deals a year.
Yeah.
That's the deal volume we have. And they vary across sectors. So we are a sector agnostic fund. We also have a very active top-down thesis-based approach. So each one of us look at one or more sectors. And then we go out and look for companies in those sectors. And when I say sectors, typically they are vertical sectors. There are a few horizontal sectors also that we look at, but mostly it is vertical sectors. So it could be logistics, it could be retail, it could be healthcare, education, financial services. And then we look for opportunities in those sectors where technology can play an interesting role. So in that sense, this deal flow is quite diverse. I don't think there is one particular theme that we have seen more than others. There are a lot of very interesting software companies that are coming up, digital first brands, education technology companies, financial services is very hot in India for the last several years, the fintech companies.
Yes.
Healthcare, we have an investment, logistics, we have an investment. So yeah, it is really spread across various sectors, I would say.
And the fintech and edtech deal flow that you're seeing, does it align with that next 400 million consumers?
So fintech mostly. Even I would say education technology, there are a lot of companies that we're seeing who are talking about vernacular language-based content creation.
Yeah.
They're also targeting, so the first wave of edutech companies that were targeting test preparation market were basically going after exams like engineering and medical. But now we are seeing a lot of companies going after, let's say, a bank exam, which allows somebody to get employed at a bank. It's a very large exam in India, but it is what something next 200 or 400 million Indian users find very relevant. Or people do speak English, but from multiple languages. So Gujarati kid trying to speak English and so on. So there are in edtech there are a lot of companies. Fintech, I would say, primarily there only. As in fintech is a lot about financial inclusion, people who could not get credit earlier, both SMEs, consumers, people wanting to and most of that behavior exists in an informal economy in India. What these fintech companies are doing are providing better quality product in a more formal manner to these consumers or to these SMEs.
So how do you envision the financial story of this 400 million next 400 million consumers, is it going to be in the form of some version of microfinance? What form is it going to take, and who's going to be lending? Is it your companies, these new companies that are coming up, new fintech companies, are they going to be lending out of their own pockets or the funds that they raise? Or is it going to be peer-to-peer? Or is it going to be high net worth individuals or family offices lending to these? What format do you see this taking?
So it is very hard to answer that question because it is such a large market. I think you will see multiple models emerge. What is happening today is primarily trying to, just in India, such a credit hungry society that you launch a company and you will find a large segment of consumer or SMEs who have not been able to access credit. So today it is more plain vanilla about going out and getting that segment in your target base. Now, obviously, there are a lot of challenges. It is very easy to lend money, as we all know. The hard part is in collecting it. So there are those pieces that are not yet figured out. I would say there are companies who have failed. There are companies who are doing a good job. Also, over time, one needs to figure out why would a smaller company win over an existing large entity who has a lower cost of capital. So is your underwriting any different? Is your distribution any different? Is your loan collection process any different? Those are, I would say, still unanswered questions for a lot of models. I don't think microfinance per se or microfinance kind of model per se is going to be a dominant thing. It is still a base where banks have lowest cost of capital, so you have to somehow reach to that cost of capital. It could be typically people start like a marketplace or giving a small first loss guarantee. Over time, they try in India what is called NBFCs, which is where you can take deposits from public. So that is what you end up doing. But at least as a fund, we don't think that one model is better than another. You can actually earn a decent spread even as a marketplace, depending on which segment you're playing in.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss with this audience before we move to the entrepreneur pitches?
No, that's it. And any way in which we can be of help, let us know. But it was great being on the show, and I hope it was of use to some people at least.
Absolutely. We're going to definitely send you some people. In fact, very soon I will send you some people. All right. Nice talking to you, Rahul. Thank you for coming today.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Folks, we're going to switch gears to the entrepreneur pitch portion of the program today. Let me set some expectations. This is a working session. This is a safe working session. You can tell us whatever it is that you need help with, and we will, work with you to make sure that you have what you need. You get what you need feedback-wise. We have no other agenda but to help you accelerate your journey. You may disagree with the feedback that you get today. That's okay. Not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money. Not all businesses that raise money become successful. This is something that you have to take into account. So don't, single-mindedly chase financing without figuring out what your business needs are. That is something that you will see me talk about quite a bit, because we see as a pattern, we see entrepreneurs being very simplistic about their financing strategies, and that's not very productive. So expect that I will point that out to you. We're going to start today with Taran Chhabra, who's a 1Mby1M premium member, and he's getting ready to raise some money and has a lot of traction at the moment in his business. So Taran, I suggest you give an overview of what you're doing very quickly, and then let's jump to your financials, which is where we're going to be spending most of the coaching session today.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Shamana. Very helpful. So the problem that we are after is, if you could go to the second slide, the problem that we are after is no shoe as of now is designed for all-day comfort, right? So if you look at any major brand that's out there in the market, or that's been around for decades, right? It's focused on creating shoes for different activities, right? There's a running shoe, there's a walking shoe, there's a trail shoe. So what we've done is we've created a shoe for the minimalistic guys, right? We're looking for just all-day comfort. We're looking for a shoe that takes them from start till the end of the day. It's great for travel, it's great for packing, and it can be taken everywhere, right? And the second core reason that we are after is all the shoes are currently being made with artificially and chemically loaded synthetic materials, which are very bad for the environment. So we have replaced all those materials and we have used truly natural sources in creating shoes. All right. So our shoes are for young, active, stylish folks who are looking for a multi-purpose shoe, which is comfortable and stylish at the same time. Right. So we use a bunch of natural sources along with merino from Australia. We have created proprietary fabrics based on Indian weather conditions. In our outsoles, insoles, we use plant-based castor bean oil, recycled rubber, and all our packaging is made with 85% waste paper. Yep. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is our core team. That's me, Taran Chhabra. I'm the founder, CEO. My core background is data analytics, business strategy. I've helped several pharmaceutical companies based in New Jersey, New York, Chicago, get better insights in data and then look at how they should tweak their strategy and move their company towards growth. My marketing is headed by Kiran, who is currently working for Dentsu and other digital marketing giants in New York. Amar is one of the co-founders. He's a veteran. He has over 15 years of experience in running various startups in the southern part of India, and he leads the operations of these. Yep, that's pretty much it.
So I'm going to skip over, Taran, to your financials in the interest of time because there are other people who need to work with me today. So let's do a bit of traction and then let's go to financials.
Right. So this is the traction that we've had. We launched in limited sizes in October and November. This was just to test the market, to create some awareness on how we're different, to test the waters and see what people are saying about our products. So we sold about 147 odd products in limited sizes. Revenue was about 10 lakhs in a month, and we had close to 100 signups for the sizes that weren't available. So this was enough traction for me that I'm in the right path, and we launched on December 23rd, to be precise, with all sizes, 3 of my styles. And just in the month of December, we made about 65 orders with 4.3 lakhs in revenue. In January, we did about 350 orders and about 19.5. In February, we had about 35 to 40% growth, about 531 orders and 28.9 lakhs. March has begun very well for us. We had an extra 5% off, because we won an Extraordinaire and Game Changer award last year with 5 times now, and that spiked, and we have done about close to this is updated so far. We've done about 230 orders and about 12 lakhs in revenue.
Taran, this slide needs some updating. Your December 23rd, 2018, there you have a typo there, and February 29th is already over, so you need to take off all the still dates, projecting a growth of 40% and things like that. So this needs to be cleaned up. So let's go to your financials.
The financials.
Okay.
Right. So we're projecting to sell about 18,000 to 90,000 units this year, and we're looking to make about $1.7 million in revenue. And we are expecting to raise about $1.5 million to get there, right? So that's what we are currently out in the market to raise. And primarily, money is going towards inventory, marketing, and operational expenses. And we're adding a few women's styles, and we're coming out with kids styles as well in the end of the year, right? So that's where this major chunk of money is going to go. And then the projection for second year is we're looking at $6.5 million in revenue, and we need the next round of $2.5 million to get there. And then in the third year, we're expecting good spike because we would have built a brand. By then, people would know about us. We expect to introduce a few more styles, come out with a few more product innovations, perhaps sometimes some products which are at a decent cost that we can target a lot more market. And we're looking to make around $12 million in revenue. And in the third round, we're looking to raise about $4 to $4.5 million. Now, this should give us good chunk and good sustainability going forward. So these are the actual orders that we are, expecting, and these are in thousands, about 24,000 in that range in the first year. Then in the second year, expecting good spike, considering we're going to go into women, kids, and a lot of other and few other styles that we are already working on developing. The second year is going to be a good spike, but we're going to also spend a lot of money in marketing during that time, a lot more money, in fact. And in year 3, it's going to be 148,000 that we're looking to do.
So what is the blue versus orange? Can you explain it?
Right. So the actual orders is what we plan to do, and then based on our operational expenses and the marketing spends, how many orders do we need to break even during that point? Right. Mm-hmm. That's what it says.
Okay.
Just in terms of our operational expenses.
So you are actually showing that you can break even already in Q1
Yes.
of year 2 based on these numbers. Okay, very good.
Yes, we are already in fact spending less than what we are making. So
okay.
We're not spending a lot, and we are making more than what we're spending right now.
Okay.
Very good. So we're out in the market to raise 1.5 million, and the major chunk is going to go towards inventory because we want to stock up and have all the sizes ready. So 400,000 is about inventory. Then marketing, advertising, branding is about 520 grand. Working capital for us is about 235,000. The new product development for women and kids, and we're launching 2 new styles in the next 4 months. So that's going to involve 12,000. And we're planning to have pop-up locations, so small experiential zones where people can actually come. These will be a lot of corporate branding events wherein our marketing team will actually travel to corporates and then they'll drive awareness about the product. We already have a lot of people who buy from these corporates, so this will help us, drive more awareness and get more visibility on the product. So that's the plan and the usage of the funds.
Okay. So the only comment I have on your finances is a huge improvement over yesterday. The only comment I have is you could do another slide which kind of takes a 5 or 7 year view, but it doesn't have to be broken down into into quarters. You can just do an annual projection by by revenue, by funding requirement, and by units, and by break even. So that's the only other slide I would suggest you put in. Otherwise, you're good. This is now you should go in and do the incubation radar questionnaire. Send it over to Joe. Send it over to us. We will take care of it, and Joe will work with you to get your IR going. Okay. Very good. And by the way, what we just heard from Rahul Chowdhri about this Shop 101, that could be a great channel for you.
Yeah. In fact, I sent a deck to Rahul a couple of months ago, and he wanted us to get to 40 lakhs in revenue and then chat with him again. So maybe when you do the introduction, that'll be great.
I will do that.
I think we should hit 40 this month. Yeah.
Okay.
And one question, right, in terms of there's a lot of interest in different outlets reaching out to us as well, wherein we can showcase our products. But we're very careful because the inventory might just lie there. We'll be competing with several other products in the.
Be very careful. Right now, you're inventory challenged. So right now, don't create dead inventory. You need to sell the inventory and generate money and generate traction. So, and you've got a channel that is producing. So just be careful about all this marketing inventory sitting around at the moment.
Yeah, that's the reason we're not doing that. We just gone into Amazon Launchpad and we're getting about 5-7 from there. So we just sent 200 inventory there, so that's giving us good traction.
Right.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of instructions on mechanics of fundraising in the financing module. Make sure you follow that. Creating a Google Sheet to track all the introductions. I need an email blurb that kind of summarizes the story besides the incubation radar and all that. So take a look at that, and we'll get started next week with introduction.
Okay. Perfect. I'll take care of it.
Great.
Thank you, Shomana. Very, very helpful.
Very welcome. Good progress. All right, folks. We are moving to Shahid Bandarkar. You are up next, Shahid. Please unmute your line and tell us what you're working on.
Hi, this is actually Faisal. Shahid is my co-founder.
Why do you have Shahid up there and?
It's both of us are here. Both of us are here. It's just that I will do the talking.
Okay, both of you are here. Okay, perfect. Go ahead. Tibot.
Our product is called Tibot, which is a trained eye. And if you can move to the next slide, please. So this is Jeff. This can be any one of us. He wakes up one day and finds a sudden skin rash, right? And it's very challenging when you have to go to work and you have a skin rash. Is it something you should be worried about, or should you just ignore it? And maybe, do you visit a doctor? And what do you need to do? So if you have a mole on your skin, the average wait time in the US is 32 days for taking a dermatologist appointment, right? So you have to really wait for a long time. In some places, in some regions, it's almost 60 days.
I love this slide.
If you can move to the next slide, please. So what a person, what Jeff would actually need is a tool with which you can do an analysis of your skin problem and find what problem you might have, find what are the treatment options, learn more about it, and find cure, essentially. So basically, rather than doing a Google search which can throw you off in various, Google is not an expert in medicine, not even dermatology to say. So you need a tool which has been validated by dermatologists and which will give you right guidance, and you can learn and take next steps. Okay, if you can go to the next slide. This is Tibot, which is our app. It's available on Android, iPhone, or it can be used on any browser. The user starts off by uploading a picture of their problem. We use AI internally, and it asks a few questions related to the symptoms, just like a doctor would when you go there. Hey, is this itchy? How long has it been? How long do you have the itch? And so on. And it gives you an analysis. Okay, we are careful here that we are not giving you a diagnosis only which only a doctor can. We're giving you an analysis of what you might have and a percentage chance, right? And you can basically, we have an inbuilt wiki where you can learn about the problem and even connect to a doctor if you wish. If you go to the next slide. So internally, as I said, we use deep learning. And we have trained, there are thousands of skin problems that we have trained. We've identified common skin problems which a normal user would have, and we cover 90% of those common skin problems. We've been validated clinically. We have worked with a hospital in India which did a study, and we have independently verified that we have 85% of accuracy. And since we are based in Silicon Valley, we fall under a patient decision support tool. We are very clear we're not a diagnostic tool of any kind.
Okay.
If you go to the next slide, please. Yeah, our goal is to have complete skincare, which starts off by self-triaging or the learning process, which we say, and then a doctor validation, followed by treatment and preventive care. So we already have self-triaging available out in the market. Our app is already there. We have 25,000 downloads of our app on the Google Play Store. We have launched a doctor validation service where a user can connect to a doctor and get diagnosis. We have launched this service in Bangladesh, in India, and we will be launching in US in a couple of weeks.
And what is the business model?
Yeah, so if you can go down, I think I have a slide for that. If you can skip this probably. Under the hood, we can skip, I guess. Yeah. So this is the business model. This is for US specific, and we have a separate model in India too. So we will charge $49 for each consultation in the US. And being in the US, just a copay to visit a dermatologist for some people can be $50. right? And that also with the bill. So this you get instantaneous consultation from a dermatologist. We plan on launching a skin disease management, which will be a paid feature, and we're thinking of charging $10 per month for this. And this will be for patients with chronic conditions like eczema. As you know, it's chronic. A lot of people have to live with it, or psoriasis. And then in our app, after the doctor has given a consultation, we have options for users to buy by partnering with online pharmacies, and we get a percentage of the cart if the user ends up buying. So these are the three businesses.
You're planning to acquire B2C consumers and then charge them basically.
Exactly. That's the plan for us, and that's the market size. You know, the teledermatology is really booming. It is $1.2 billion in US. And
based on what? Where is this data coming from? What do you mean by teledermatology? You said there is no app that has any skin care.
Yeah, this is telehealth providers like Doctor on Demand, Amwell, and other providers, which also have dermatology as one specialization. Actually, telehealth, around 30 to 40% of all telehealth is dermatology related. So when people go to Doctor on Demand or Amwell, most of 30% of it is all dermatology related problems. People coming to them for skin rash or a mole or a tumor or whatever. So that's the overall teledermatology market. So there is no app as such for doing an AI skin analysis which covers a large common skin problems and which uses both image and symptoms to come to a diagnosis. So we are the only ones which do that. So if you can go, probably go to the next slide because I'm short of time and I would like to have your feedback too. I wanted to go to the traction slide, so if you can go down further. I'll talk about the competitors for a minute. Yeah, so there are a lot of companies which do either telehealth or just machine learning and giving analysis, but someone who's focused on skin and uses AI, we are the only ones who do that. And there's obviously no one which does skin management. All companies, all doctors, they will give you a prescription and you are on your own after that. And this is one big area where we want to make a difference, is by managing the user's journey right from diagnosis, prescription to the actual cure process. Because as you know, some skin problems can be long, it could take months to resolve and it needs to be managed. So that is one area we want to be making a difference. So if you go to the next slide, please.
So these 98.6, these are just telehealth providers. They're not skin dermatology related platforms.
Yes, they are general, anything, they will cover any generic problems. And we have been very clear, like we want to be we want to be a specialist, like how you have GPs, general physicians, but you also have for a specialist, and that's where we want to be. So I'm the CEO, co-founder, I'm a technology guy. Shahid, who you had, is our sales and marketing guy, and Mark is our chief medical officer. He's certified in the US in 25 states. We also work with some international advisors. We worked with Dr. Shamila, who is from head of DY Patil University in Mumbai. So we worked with her to get the accuracy. And we did an interesting study. They did an interesting study. They compared our AI diagnosis with regular doctors in rural areas and semi-urban areas. So they went to different states, different places in Maharashtra. They compared us with 5 different type of doctors. And for all of them, our diagnosis was much better than what the doctors would do. And this study was presented in the International Dermatology Conference held in Bangalore in January of this year, and it was very well received.
So what is your plan? Are you going to build this business in the US or are you trying to build this business in India?
Okay, so we have, and that's one thing which I would like to discuss with you. We have essentially two tracks. One is we want to launch this telehealth. Actually, we've launched in India with this telehealth option. It is very challenging in India because there's big money, and we are self-funded so far. There's big money which is following the health sector in India. There are some companies which are offering telehealth for free. So there is a pharmacy provider called 1Mby1M, which has probably hundreds of millions of dollars of funding, which is providing telehealth services for free. And there is one called Dr. Prime, again has a lot of funding. They have different monetization paths. Obviously, 1Mby1M wants people to end up buying their pharmacies from there, medicines from there. Dr. Prime is after the insurance market. It is funded by Policy Basar. But we still think, and we want to be charging the user like 150 rupee for providing a consultation, because we end up paying the doctors like 70 to 100 rupee. So that is one challenge we have in India. And I wanted to hear your thoughts about that. But at the US, we are planning on focusing on preventative care, so which is like eczema and psoriasis, and have this app which is under development, and either charge users, or actually we have some pharmaceutical companies which have shown interest if we develop and if we were to have users.
It's going to be hard to do both. The thing that I like about your solution is that it's something that you're expecting people to pay for and pay a reasonable amount for. And so what is the back end? Do you actually need people in the back end to provide this kind of analysis, or is it all AI based?
Okay, so the initial AI is you don't need anyone. It's completely computerized. The AI diagnosis is free. It's instantaneous. You try it out and you'll get an immediate result. Now, for prescription or for an actual diagnosis, you might want to contact a dermatologist, right? Because we are not doctors. AI is not the doctor. So we have an option where user can then, whatever they have filled in, they can click a button and send it to a dermatologist. So the dermatologist can review the case, provide medicines, a care plan of what to do to treat it, and the user gets it back. So when we ask for the dermatologist, that is a paid option.
So that is a paid option, and how does the revenue split? You said $49 per consultation. What percentage of that do you keep?
So in the US, out of $49, we have to pay $30 to the dermatologist. And in India, out of 150 rupee, we have to pay 100 rupee to the dermatologist.
And this is not covered by insurance?
No, right now we are not covered by insurance. We are kind of like over the counter or that kind of service.
Okay.
But in the US, we can give prescription.
Operationally, does the dermatologist need to see the patient, or can what you are doing digitally, telehealth, is sufficient for the dermatologist to write a prescription and so forth?
Yeah, so that is sufficient. We also have an option of chat. So if the dermatologist has any questions, sometimes they might want to ask a patient before prescribing, are you pregnant or trying to get pregnant? So we have an option for doctor to chat and ask questions. But some of them, it could be that the doctor might decide that it definitely needs an in-person visit, and the doctor can say, hey, you need to see a dermatologist in person.
So the reason I'm asking you this question is, operationally, then, is there a local angle to it? Do you have to pair patients with local dermatologists, or just an online doctor anywhere, dermatologist anywhere is sufficient? That's the real question that you have to figure out.
Yes, exactly. And that is one thing which we can also get into the next, the last mile, as you might call it, is maybe have the dermatologist, if the dermatologist decides that it needs an inpatient in-clinic visit or maybe a treatment, like for acne or pigmentation, you might need a laser therapy. They can actually route to a local dermatologist clinic. And we
you can have a online version, and then if it needs physical consultation, then you refer over to someone physical. Got it. So the problem is, as a startup, you won't have the resources to do both India and US. It's going to be all consuming and really, really challenging just to do one and to get it to enough traction and figure out all the details and everything. So you have to decide what is more comfortable for you, where you want to put your bets. Have you thought about that? You have to choose one or the other. Which one do you want to do?
So,
hi. So this is Shahid.
Yeah.
So one of the good things about our strategy has been, right, we get a lot of data from India and Bangladesh because there are so many users and people are using our app. And we've spoken to people, industry people in Silicon Valley, and they like this strategy that we get a lot of data from Asia, we perfect the technology, and then we use that perfected technology more in America. Because in America, there's less leeway, right? So we need to improve. As we get more data, the higher the accuracy goes up. So as of currently, every day we get around 100 cases every day from all across the world. So this it's an app which is global, and we don't have to provide extra resources for putting the app global, right? The AI-based diagnosis that we give.
But be careful, you're talking about image and you're talking about skin. So you get a different resolution from dark skinned images versus you would get from white skin, and that's going to look very different.
Yes, and that is the value that we are creating. Our data set is unique because it's so varied, and we are making a technology that can handle different skin tones, right? So we know the location of the person, and our technology is getting smarter. We have worked on that actually. We knew about this problem that we get different skin colors and different skin tones. And the other challenge is that the pictures are taken by cameras from users' cameras, right?
Yeah.
So the pictures are not always perfect. So like there have been companies who got pictures in like clinical settings, but pictures taken in clinical settings are perfect, right? As compared to these pictures which we are getting taken from user phones. And that is the uniqueness of our data. We talk to VCs in Silicon Valley and they say data is king. So we are building a unique data set of skin problems from across the world.
So you're saying that you want to give the app for free without any of the telehealth consultation option in India or Bangladesh or wherever, but really want to do the telehealth service in the US that you can actually monetize. Is that accurate?
No, we did not communicate correctly. The AI diagnosis is free all across the world. Okay, and then there is a paid consultation, right? So if the AI diagnosis says, hey, this is a fungal infection, people know what to do with fungal infection, most of them, right? They go to get an over-the-counter drug. But like if the AI diagnosis says, hey, you have eczema, do you want a dermatologist opinion? And then you say, yes, I can pay, like if you're in India and you pay 150 rupees to get a dermatologist opinion, it's very good value. And in America, it's $49, right? So
I asked you a question. Are you going to be able to scale these two operations? And now you're talking global. In every country, you're going to go at once and trying to scale telehealth operations. It's not feasible. Any investor who will want to engage will tell you right there that this is not feasible. You can't scale a company with that kind of operational complexity all over the world right away. So you're going to have to make a selection of where you do that.
So we're just working on in India and America, US.
For telehealth.
For the telehealth part of it.
Yeah, but scaling India is not a joke, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we know that. We know the challenges.
Yeah.
And also in India, there's so much investment in healthcare that we're just up against the big players with a lot of money, and we're trying to see how do we present our service as unique or very specialized.
Do you have any validation that people are willing to pay for your product in the US?
In the US, we have not launched yet, but there are other providers who are charging much more than us. There is a company called Dermatologist on Call, which charges $89, and they are doing good. They have good investment and good revenue.
You showed a slide earlier that says dermatology app 0.
No, those are telehealth. Those are telehealth providers. They don't have any AI front end. You can always use our AI for free and not use our telehealth service. So if you go down, there's one called MD Live. If you go the competitor slide, I have one called MD Live. Yeah, that one. So here it's MD Live is essentially just a pure teledermatology, pure telehealth provider.
Yeah.
So there are some teledermatology provider there's one called Dermatologist on Call. In the US, they charge from $89. Only telehealth. They don't have any front end for AI. Whereas us, we have an AI front end where users can still get a diagnosis.
There is some validation that people are willing to pay for this, for the telehealth portion of this. So you want to front end that with an app that has some free AI stuff, and then you want to upsell that into a telehealth scenario. So,
exactly.
My take is that you are going to have to choose. You will not be able to do India and US, both. You're going to have to choose. And, there are pros and cons in each case. In India, I would say customer acquisition is a bit cheaper, just because there's a lot of inventory out there, and there are ways in which you can access that inventory through social media and so forth, and cater to them. But again, you get paid a lot more in America.
Yes.
The monetary. So you have to decide. Each business it's a different business. You can't do both at once. Right now, you're going to have to make a choice which way you want to go. So some of it also, by the way, if you're trying to do a B2C company in India, you guys will need to move to India. If you want any investment whatsoever, no one's going to fund you to sit here in America and try to sell to the Indian consumer. So please consider that and decide that are you willing to pack up and move to India and do this India business, or do you want to do a business in America? Whichever way you want to go, but you have to choose one or the other.
Sure, yeah. That's our financial slides. We have, if you see, we are hoping that as our AI gets smarter, we can give users payment plans. If you go to the next slide, which is the longer term, which is the 5-year plan.
Look, your financials don't mean anything to me right now, because you haven't answered the basic question. What is the business? Is it an Indian business or a US business? Otherwise, without those details factored in of what is the customer acquisition cost, what is the revenue projection, etc., these financials don't mean anything to me. So I'm not going to spend time on it.
Okay.
Okay? So make a decision, choose where you want to go, and then let's figure out the strategy. If you decide to work with 1 million by 1 million, I'll help you figure the details of the strategy, but you have to make a decision first of what business you want to build.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Francisco, you're up next.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, so thank you for this time, and I'm here to present Wildsmile. And at Wildsmile, we pretend to make dental care access easy, accessible, and transparent for everybody. And you can switch for the next slide. So, and the main question is, when one has a toothache or a problem in the mouth, what do they do? And if you look for healthy persons or above average persons, they tend to call to the dentist and get an appointment very easy. And most of them also have an insurance, depending on the market where they are. But if you think about average or above average income families, they struggle to pass by. And dentistry is not a priority. And the market is growing. It's growing like crazy. In the States, and we are only working in Europe for now, more than 1/3 of the population don't go to the dentist because they cannot afford that. and they only go when they are in huge pain and they cannot handle it through. So the opportunity in the market is everywhere around the world, because more than 95% of the market organization is fragmented. And if you think about online business in dentistry, it's less than 1%. Of course, people need to go and sit in the dentist chair, but according to our experience and our market analysis, there is a huge opportunity to do everything you can do until you need to sit in the dentist chair and bring value to the market. And why? Because many, many people simply don't go to the dentist because they are afraid to say no to the doctor once he said, okay, you need to pay 1,000 euros, $10,000, whatever it is, to solve his problem. So many people simply delay, and because most people don't like to sit in the dentist chair, not only because of the pain, many reasons. So the market is huge, and we need to think about that problems in dental care start usually when you are above 35 years old. So you have certain age, you have certain problems on your life, and above 35, that's when things get worse and you need to take care of them. So of course, this is an old industry. There are many players fixing this on mouths of persons. We have health insurance, usually huge elephants and slow movers. We have some web directories that mostly list doctors and in order to get appointments. And we also have now some trends on dental chains, which are physical organizations that are leveraging on the fragmented market. So our view for the market is to build, and we have it already running, a digital dental platform that will target every person in the market that we are working on in order to help them proactively to get access to dental care. And we have our product portfolio that starts with where are doctors available for you and how much do they cost. If you go to the next slide. So we have a business and value proposition both for consumers, which is based on a dental plan, which is something that people understand. It's a kind of insurance. It's not an insurance. Online, proactive, so that we push and remind people of their need, not only for them individually, but also for their families and for companies if this is a plan for a company. So not only the book and rate where you can find your doctors, but also and mainly what we are working on is an auto checkup and self-assessment tool online. And this allows you for you to access your current situation, understand what are the options, what is the current solution in a transparent way, and then compare it to the doctors that you're willing on your area, on outside, wherever you want to find, and know in advance what is the cost of your treatment online from the comfort of your home. And of course, you can also book it and buy it online with some advantages, including financing, if you need financing to buy your treatments. If you move for the next slide. So, of course, for dental practices, it's a must to have some tools in order to improve their performance. Dental units are usually small businesses that lack some management focus and management improvement, and we bring several tools in order to improve that business performance. Not only more patients that are spending money, so more revenue, integration with suppliers in order for the doctors to buy materials within our marketplace, and the integration with dental prosthetics, all in a digital way. If you can move on for the next slide. So our business model has basically two pillars. One is the subscription and the rolling revenue for consumers, which starts in a paid plan by €5 per month per person, up to 12.5 euros per month, and also for dental practices according to the service level they want to engage with, starting with 0. On the transactional side, we are offering to the persons the ability to buy the treatment online, where we get a commission, and also to the dental practices to buy materials online, and we also get a commission. We don't hold inventory. We work with major retailers, not retailers, the wholesalers in the dentistry, since this is health materials and needs to be regulated in each country where we are operating. Some traction, we have more than 1,000 doctors in our platform. We are currently working and operating in Portugal and Spain, more than 6,000 members, growing 10% per month. We service more than €1 million in our region. And if you can go for the next.
So hang on, 1 million euro, how does your, based on the business model that you just showed, 12 euro per consumer per month and 199 euros per dentist per month, what is the distribution of what you have?
So this is the services, 1 million services that I'm putting here is the service or the amount of money that we send to the clinics. So these are services provided by the clinics and services that were provided to our patients. It's not our revenue.
So what is your revenue?
So we ended 2018 with roughly 20,000 euros.
120,000 euros. And how does that split up? What's your monthly recurring revenue? And, how much of that is in B2C and how much of that is in B2B?
Most is B2C. We have, because our business model first goes the patients and then the roles to the clinics. So I would say 90% is this B2C and 10% is B2B right now. And
what is the MRR?
On a monthly basis, it's roughly at this stage around 10,000 euros. 10,000
euros, okay.
So what we see from our patients that they get savings compared to private payments on 55% on average. And due to the savings, our patients do more treatments compared to normal booking private patients. Doctors get 3.5 times more. Our money and milestones, we are looking for 1 million euro investment to scale our business and keep developing, and including moving our headquarters to Germany in order to foster this big market in Europe. So we are sitting in Portugal and Spain, and we want to address the whole Europe, going market by market, starting by Germany, after Portugal and Spain, where we think we need to set up our headquarters in order to get more credibility to the market and be able to acquire this investment. And from Germany, going to the eastern side of Europe, countries like Hungary, like Poland, and going to nearby markets like Italy and the UK in some months. So we tend to go market by market. So we intend to use
a very aggressive market penetration, plan with so many markets in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It takes that much time to penetrate one market.
Well, we don't say that we are done when we finish those 6 months. We are starting and putting the operations in place. So Europe is it's compared to the US.
I think your investors are going to question that strategy. Investors would want to see that you invest in one market. 1 million euro is not that much financing. So 1 million euro is not it's not a good use of 1 million euro to penetrate 6 markets. It's a good use of 1 million euro to penetrate one market deeply.
But with this 1 million euros, we are just penetrating 2 markets, Germany and Hungary, because Portugal and Spain we are already in. And Italy and UK, we are.
Yeah, but then the investor will say that 1 million euro should go into building Portugal and Spain and not go into Hungary. Not going to Germany.
Okay, that's we can of course, if we have an interested investor, we can consider that. But currently, without having it, that's the strategy. To acquire after this investment 1 and something million euros. So I myself and Francisco have 20 years experience. I led for 10 years a dental chain, and Paula, she's a chief medical officer, she's dentist. And we have a marketing and sales team and product development and customer service based in Portugal. You can move on. So this is basically our business executive data. And we plan to use this money 60% on business development and operations and 40% still improving the product because being a digital platform, we need to keep it rolling. We are working on with Medical Valley, which is a governmental organization in Germany for the dental health innovations. And we are also being accelerated by EIT Health, which is a European funded organization.
So, Maureen, is this a company that is in the EIT Health 1Mby1M program, or is it just EIT Health? But you have a 1Mby1M membership?
Yes. I came from there.
Okay, got it. Great. So, so in that case, I think we can start looking at your financing, starting the process of financing for fundraising. If you go to the curriculum, you have access to the 1M curriculum. Go to the financing section and start building your investor pitch deck. There are templates available, and you have access to all our private roundtables. You can come and iterate with me. So it will take a few iterations to get this pitch to a level that we can send out to investors, and then you're going to need to put together the incubation radar post, and then we will, we'll introduce you to investors. But let's first put together the investor pitch, and we'll work with you on that. So I think you should start with the curriculum and start putting it together. Whenever you need input, just come back to one of the private roundtables and let's start working on it.
Okay, I just got the information of the login in the next prior days, so I just took the chance to be able to speak with you
very
and present
good.
to you.
I'm very glad that you did take the chance and come and present, so I know what you're doing, and I already gave you a bit of feedback, but let's start,
Yeah, appreciate that.
I think there's a private roundtable next week, so between now and next week, you can already do some work on your slides, and you can even come back to the next roundtable, and we can do another round.
Okay, appreciate your time and your feedback.
All right, very good. Okay, folks, if you like what we're doing here, then please start all your exploration at 1Mby1M.com and send people over. Maureen, the slide that I had about referral has disappeared. Can you please put that back in for the next round? Everything is at 1Mby1M.com. You can start with following the blog. If you're not yet a member of the program, you can start following the blog. You can start reading the books. We have 12 books under the Entrepreneur Journeys series name. They're all available on Amazon. They're case study-based books. You can learn from those. These roundtables happen every week. You can start using them and learning from them, and the recordings are all available. Our full acceleration program is 1M by 1M Premium. You get extensive methodology guidance. You get the access to the full curriculum, which is an online curriculum, case studies, and video lectures based. We help you with business development. We help you with, in our private roundtables, we do all the strategy consulting. You saw some of that already today. In fact, two of the presenters today, the first and the third, are members of the premium program. And we help with financing. So we have a large, network of investors who work with us. And there's a process. You have to get your pitch ready for investors to, resonate with you. We help you with that. And then once that is done, then you get introduced to investors and start the investor discussions. So we follow a very systematic process and methodology, and it works. And we also have a lot of clout in the media, so getting the word out about what you're doing is also something that we do very decisively. So if you go to the website, there is a self-assessment that is basically gives you an idea of the kind of questions investors are asking. And we believe that you should ask these questions of yourself about your business before facing any investor. And that's because you are the most important and the first investor in your company. You should be able to ask these questions. It's kind of, you simulate before you go to investors. You try to answer these questions. If you run into methodology gaps, do 1M Basic, which is our curriculum-only option, $99 a month, and you can plug those methodology gaps and learn what those questions mean. What does bottom-up TAM analysis mean? You're going to need a bottom-up TAM analysis. That is a requirement. So dig around on the website. There's this detailed description of all of the, pieces of the program, what each part of the program offers, their FAQs, video FAQs, detailed description of the curriculum. We are a case study-based program. We have over 1,000 successful entrepreneurs and their case studies. We have video lectures in the core, in the curriculum. And our methodology is bootstrap first, raise money later. So the fact that all of you have some, something going already, you have some amount of work that you've done, you're starting to show some traction, some validation is great, because that's a requirement to be able to raise money these days. That's it. We have 3 more roundtables in March, 14th, 20th, and 28th. And then we have 1 more in-person rendezvous at Cafe Boroni. There was 1 last night, and there's 1 more in March, on March 20th. So if you're either local or if you're visiting, please feel free to come by to one of those and chat with me. That's it. We can take some questions. The call-in number is up on your screen. Let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson. If you have questions about the program, you can contact her, Irina at 1Mby1M.com. And that's pretty much it. So questions, you can type your questions into public chat, or you can call in. Either way is fine. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want to introduce yourselves, you're welcome to do that as well. No? No questions. No questions, no comments. In which case, we're going to adjourn. The testimonial you have on your screen is Abhishek Rungta, founder and CEO of IndusNet Technologies, that is doing 11 million in annual revenue in 2018. Was in the program for about 3 years earlier on in their history. And we have a lot of case studies like this of companies who are now doing very serious amounts of revenues. Okay, folks, I will see you next week then. Bye-bye.